traveling sucks, but traveling from one place to another is awesome. I love going to different places. Conventions are coming back. There are a lot of open states and open places that want to get back to the real. And I will be at Cult Classic Convention in Bastrop, Texas, February 19 through 21 of this year. So I'm going to be conventioning again very, very soon. And I am really looking forward to it. We've got a nice chainsaw reunion going on. I'm going to go to Austin a few days in advance so I can visit with friends and have a good time. I'm looking forward to getting back to the real. I'm looking forward to getting back into movie theaters. And I want to try to do that as much as I can. The genius of Eric Bloomquist, he not only knows how to write and direct a film with his brother Carson, he knows how to promote a film. And one of the ingenious things that he did back in October was invited me to go on a tour with him. He said, 1091 and our producers have a lot of pop-ups and festivals and screenings in theater and not in theater that we can do. He said, East Coast, we've got a lot of stuff. Would you be willing to come? And I said, of course, if somebody will pay my expenses. And I had to quarantine for 2 weeks in Connecticut, but we did a little road trip and I got to see the movie for the first time inside a movie theater. There were only 8 people there, but it was great. Full sound, full screen. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I saw that you had done a premiere at the Texan Theater in Greenville. But this, yes. I think this really is like one of your best roles. It just really suits all your strengths. But you must have had so many offers to play a DJ after Stretch. What made 10 Minutes to Midnight something that made you want to get back to the airwaves, so to speak?
To be honest, I haven't gotten DJ roles after Stretch. I did not get DJ roles. No. What's unique about this one is I kind of reinvented myself 4 years ago. My children were grown. I knew there was a place for me. The day I moved into my new apartment, I started work on Greenlight, directed by Graham Denman, and an extraordinarily good film noir. And I felt a sense of possibility. I just knew it was probably going to take some time. When this came along, the minute I read it and the minute I saw Long Lost, which was written by Carson and Eric and directed by Eric Bloomquist, Adam Wepler and Nicholas Tucci and Catherine Corcoran, the movie has such a signature. And I knew 10 Minutes to Midnight would have a signature. I say that because it's hard for a movie to break out and for audiences to see the singularity of what's happening. And that has been effortless with this film. Our reception at festivals, viewers, early screenings, everything. The enthusiasm and the embrace of this movie has actually been unique to me. I've done some successful things. This really is a standalone film.
Yeah, well, it's great to actually see you with Nicholas Tucci, who was in Your Next. I think he was in Long Lost as well. You guys have some really creepy scenes together, and it's one of his last performances before he passed away. And I think it's a good send off.
Yeah, he almost plays like an autistic person, and I know that because my son is autistic, and there's a very endearing quality to his character. But there is a sinister undertone, and he pulls that off effortlessly. I mean, the guy was such a every actor, I think of this movie as an ensemble piece. Every actor is so strong, every character so fully developed. Nobody's there just to be killed. Every actor fulfills a deep emotional role in Amy's life and within the story. And that's what takes the audience on this wild ride.
Can you talk about how this project came to you by way of another legendary actress, Barbara Crampton?
It's one of the best stories in horror as far as I'm concerned. I had been watching Barbara's career as I started rebooting. I was watching the choices she made. I was watching her moving into production more and more. I thought, okay, I want to go where she's going. I want what she has. This movie was principally offered to her. She was going to go produce Castle Freak in Europe, and she wasn't going to be able to do it. And she said to Eric, this reads like it was written for Caroline Williams. Why don't you approach her? And the minute I read it, I knew I wanted to do it. I knew that I wanted this. And Barbara had been singularly very supportive and very understanding of what I was trying to accomplish in my career. She's had the same career track in a way. You know, when you're bringing up children, there's not a lot of room for anything else. And she has a unique understanding of a woman's role in horror. And for that, I am eternally grateful.
I think Barbara, you know, may be a little too nice for this role. I mean, I think you might have a little more edge, and you really get to say some filthy things in this movie.
But see, that's what would be great about seeing Barbara in a role like this. It's completely against type.
Yeah.
If you cast Barbara against type, that's where all the great stuff happens. And I think she's got some stuff coming up that are going to be bringing that to the audience. She's got surprises in her tool bag.
Well, your character, Amy, I mean, really feels like she is inspired by someone like Delilah, you know, like the radio host that's, I think, the most listened to woman in America. And I kind of miss the days of radio shows like 10 Minutes to Midnight. Did you ever call an advice show yourself or call into an on-air radio contest?
I never did any call-in stuff, and I didn't really get into talk radio or podcasts that much. I remember being a kid in the 60s, the early 60s, and I got the gift of a transistor radio. I don't know if you've ever seen or listened to a transistor radio.
Sure.
It's got a very unique single speaker, this big sound to it, and you have to dial through all the channels trying to find what you wanted. And the big show when I was a kid was Wolfman Jack. He had been a mainstay for many years. He broadcast out of Del Rio, Texas, and he played rock and roll, you know, and discovering the music and discovering the personality of that culture, of rock and roll culture, was so enticing to me, and I loved that. And you know, I would go to sleep with Wolfman Jack, my transistor radio, under my pillow, and that was the beginning of loving radio for me.
Yeah, well, Wolfman Jack was somebody that really had the big antenna blasting out of Texas, so it got into so many kids' ears, you know, and
in Mexico.
Yeah, right. It's incredible. So, was that an actual radio station that you guys filmed in?
It was. Eric had done some kind of promotional thing, an interview or something out of that radio station. And it's a bit of the spaces are small, but there are a lot of them. And I have to say, Thompson Wen, our DP, that guy knew how to find angles and composition and lighting schemes that were ingenious and brought so much to the film. They established, Thompson Wen, singularly as our DP, established the tone and the mood for the film. And he lit me the way nobody else has ever lit me. I have to say, it was a very unique experience and extremely satisfying to be in that cocoon-like environment again.
Well, it's great to see you, you know, on air again. It's great to see you vamp out it, and it really ends up going into some very trippy places. This film, but I know 10 Minutes to Midnight is hitting VOD on January 19th. It's going to be everywhere. And Caroline, just from Dread Central, we just want to tell you, you know, you're just such a big part of the horror community. We love you so much, and we're always here for you.
I thank you so very much, and I just want to give a little shout out to my Guts podcast guys. My Guts guys mean everything to me, and they're a part of Dread Central.
That's right.
They've got the single best podcast on the air. They're my dear, dear friends, and they're always going to be a part of whatever kind of project that I'm doing And I always want to be able to promote their efforts and listen to those Guts podcast guys. They are awesome.
They'll be definitely glad to hear that. Well, you take care and good luck with the film, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Big kiss to Drew.
Bye.